Well, it's that time of the week where I bitch about Toqger. Hi guys, it is the 23rd. I just watched Toqger and Drive, as I do every weekend. This didn't annoy me as much as it should have this week with Toqger. You know my ongoing thing with them, the childishness, the focus on Raito, who's a terrible character, the condescending roles the others take in their jobs. Well, this one hits pretty much all of that, and surprisingly it was only an episode. It was trying to focus on Hikari changing, or, you know, his character development. Didn't do so well in that, although there are a few decent callback things. Hell, what I liked about the beginning of the episode is the conductor being worried about how they'll be maturing now, and Ticket, the puppet's the best character in the show, still, riffing on that as them being more mature, them growing up, them stop being immature is a good thing. We agree with that. At least everybody that hates Toqger agrees with that. And they're doing this as they're watching the team actually go about training. Now, this is both a good thing and a bad thing, as it's showing a bit more of how they're getting back the last of their memories is going to affect them. And it starts off with Raito and Hikari revealing that they have martial arts knowledge. This is kind of iffy to me. We've seen them most consistently good in a fight, Hikari being the technical thinker and Raito being Raito, in other words, an idiot. And no, they don't look too bad doing it initially, except it kind of steals that peppy, strong, Genki girl thing that Mio was doing as, well, not entirely. In an episode way back, she was shown in a kendo outfit, and during this whole love thing and made with a kendo stick. Apparently, there was a throwaway line in the episode about her actually having practiced kendo at some points in her life when she was a kid. So it's not exactly taken away from her, just giving her a different comparable skill set. What's the problem with this? Her main weapon is a hammer. Didn't really think that through, did you? I mean, yeah, the red has to have the hammer. But it would make more sense for her to be more effective if, I don't know, she was transferring to red more often to wield it, or something along those lines. Instead, she gets all the romance subplots. All of the romance subplots. I'm not looking forward to next week. Although that would also gel with the Riria actress illusions, considering Zero Black Blood, which just had its director's cut released and subbed. I'm going to watch that again. I'm trying to showcase that to people because Garo is awesome! Have I mentioned how much Garo is awesome? Zero Black Blood, standalone story. Watch it! Seriously, you don't need to know anything about it. It's just a good standalone monster series, and why I am so into Garo now. Admittedly, did I start watching Makai no Hana first? Oh, I hate my memory. Anyways, Shadow Kaijin attacks a town, and it's a syringe-based thing, meaning it's injecting poison into people's veins, into people's bodies. In fact, it does it in the manner of Dead Man Wonderland, in that, okay, it's not a collar, but it's a wristband with an injector that goes down over time. So yeah, still Dead Man Wonderland. I didn't watch past the first few episodes of that series when it aired on the revived Adult Swim. It just wasn't my kind of show. In fact, most of the initial block of new to America stuff was not my kind of shows. Although I still need to go back and watch Cashern's Sins, because that kind of seemed interesting. Although it's another gritty reboot of a lighthearted anime series, and I just released my Gotcha Man video last Saturday, and that was a gritty reboot. That sucked. Admittedly, this is a Yasuko Kobayashi. I'm getting off track. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah, syringe monster, injectors, and so everybody's expecting to die in 2 days, and so a martial arts guru has the team attacked when they enter the town to see if they can fight off the monsters. A test, as you will. We're never told the name of the station or the town the station is for. Who wants to bet it was the Nerima Ward of Tokyo? For those who don't get the joke, look up Ranma 1/2. Anyways, because of that, they're led to the monster and his hideout and his plan because he's a scientist. A mad scientist! Yeah, the monster's plot is to build despair by giving people a chance at hope. Defeat all his monsters, and he will defeat all the monsters, break a syringe, and the bracelets will go away. Because the greatest despair is when you try and retain hope and yet fail. Building it up that I can do this, I can save these people, and then they lose. And so that's definitely worse than resigning to your fate, in that you tried to defy what was going to happen, and it's still going to happen anyways. I think that's one of the things people hated about I'm trying to think of so many things at once about that had the message of inevitability woven into it, and Mass Effect 3 reference, Final Fantasy reference. We're walking. Anyways, they also get the armbands and injected with enough to match the downtime. So Hikari comes up with the plan, because he's the smart man of the team, and it's not exactly a stupid plan, but it's a clearly transparent one. And Raito and Hikari, because they're the martial artists, go to attack them and do the challenge, while the rest stay back. Now, initially, this seems like a stupid plan, because they'll be overwhelmed by numbers, but then you realize numbers only hurt you in narrow corridors like a building. So, there's a bit of sense to this in limiting how many they go, and then, if they need to, just call in for backup when they get stuck. So, the tired men can back down and get a rest, while the fresh ones push it up. I would have liked that idea. Not what they go with. What I don't like is the flashback about their training. Because apparently the tutor for Raito and Hikari was Raito's grandfather. Meaning he started at an early age, but doesn't practice a lot. Whereas Hikari started later and practices a lot. At least when they were kids. So it's pretty much Raito only does it when he's forced to, whereas Hikari did it incessantly, and because of that, I think there's kind of the muscle memory thing kind of going into it, in that you do it for longer, the motions become more ingrained, even if you don't actively practice or focus on it, whereas Hikari's musculature and reflexes aren't as set in moving that way, at least in the flashback, because eventually Hikari convinces Raito's grandfather to allow him to challenge Raito to a match, and Hikari loses completely and utterly. Now, of course, there could have been a fair, balanced point of view to this, because, Hikari was the one obsessing over it, training incessantly, and then here's Wright, who's a lazy ass, who just beat him at something he should be better at, because he put all the hard work into it. And if they had mediated it with the experience, just because the equal experience collectively doesn't mediate how newer it is to Hikari than Wright. That is not the way they go. It is a prodigy beats hard work argument. I hate you, Toqger. I hate you so much. Yeah, that's kind of one of my issues from way back, starting with the Naruto narrative. Actually, technically even farther back, because Japan loves its chosen, its Special Man, Chosen One series. Really? Really? I mean, not all of them are bad, but you usually have to give good reasons. It's not like, okay, Ranma 1/2 reference again. Ranma Tome is a gifted prodigy at martial arts. He also spent most of his life dedicated to training at it, so he would be really good at something he was good at. It's mediated by putting in the time and effort, so he's not just talented at it, he's also skilled. Skill should beat talent. Even if the talent is learning the... I'm going in circles again. It's pretty much making Wright, again, the special child and more of an asshole. Because, you know, we want to be on Hikari's side for this. I really wanted him to be the red. I mean, you could have had the comedic green. There's a consistency that at least one member of the team has to be the lovable idiot. If Wright was not the leader, not the main focal point of the show, he could have been the lovable idiot. I'm getting off track again. I think the worst part of this is that Wright's grandfather was on Hikari's side. It's why he put up with that. He agreed to setting up the match, was he wanted Wright to be put in his place. And yet he still won. And then he does the special argument to explain that, yeah, you got beat by the special, there's no worth losing that. But here's where it tries to save itself, in that he treated the match... Wright treated the match as a game, so win or lose, he was putting in all the effort, whereas Hikari was treating it seriously, so his moves were stiff and rigid. It's not how that works. You put more effort to something you're dedicated into achieving than when you're just goofing off. You do. I mean, I take stuff seriously, so I revise and meticulous, and that is so backwards. I mean, if the intent is to have fun and you're being all serious, then you're kind of missing the point, but you should be putting more effort when you're serious about something, because then if you're having fun, you're just half-assing. You're not caring about the results. So you do less. You do... I believe I'm failing to get my point across in, yeah, I'm completely blanking on the direction I wanted to move with that point. Point is, it was not a good lesson to be learned there, due to how they treat saving people in this little contest of theirs to get to the syringe kaijin as a game. You're treating the saving lives like it doesn't really matter, like it's not a serious issue. No. No. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills while watching this series. So yeah, the syringe monster is not at the goalpost. It was an illusion. That's how they do the whole greater despair, because even if they win, they lose. It was all to... The entire challenge thing was all to confirm Hikari's suspicions that the martial arts guy was actually the monster in disguise. Blah, 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 they kill it. There is a interesting coda for anyone that likes Schadenfreude with Raito, in that he's devastated to learn that his grandfather was not rooting for him to win in that sparring match. That's all I got for this. It's still bad. It's improving, but there's just deconstruction terrible in there that pretty much has... It's the show. I think Ticket's commentary is the most succinct consolidation of the criticism that have been levied at the show consistently. The puppet is the best character. Anyways, on to Drive. No one's told Shinosuke what's a Kamen Rider yet. That annoys me. And that it's something that could have been easily researched at this point, because it's been done before. And apparently all the, I'm still going to screw up the pronunciation of the monsters. Roidmudes, have been calling Drive and its predecessor Kamen Riders since the Great Freeze, that, not the Sailor Moon one, the Kamen Rider one, that preceded Drive's events. Now, we now know that Proto-Drive, there is a prototype Drive form that, while able to fight the Roidmudes, was not able to destroy their cores. So they eventually ganged up on him and killed him. We're pretty sure by this point it's Chris Steinbert, the creator of the Drive Driver, who is now Mr. Belt. He is now the Drive Driver. At least from spoiler information we received, it is. Kiriko takes the newest appearance of the Roidmudes personally because on the Great Freeze, Roidmude number 10, Paint, tried to disassemble her, take it into its perfection, and we eventually learn it dissolves the people it takes into paints, which are then painted on a canvas. That's kind of horrifying. I mean, the picture of Dorian Gray levels of haunting, at least to me. So, good one for the spookiness. Toei? Yes. At this point, we're still in show setup, so we're getting bits and pieces of the backstory, like the Proto-Driver, but we're also getting characters introduced, and this week was Chase. Chase is another Roidmude, and he's the Roidmude Shinigami, the Roidmude Reaper. While Drive can destroy the cores of the Roidmudes, destroying them completely and utterly, Chase apparently hunts them down and destroys whatever perfection they've built by their actions. And it's essentially Heart, Brain, and Chase are the officiators of the perfection they are seeking. What towards, we're not sure at this point, but there's apparently some kind of moral ethics involved with them as they reduce a Roidmude that was whose obsession was stealing currency back to its base form for reset and redeployment, and destroying any levels of perfection it's built up. Now this makes me curious to what the morals are, because clearly they've killed people, but I'm wondering, what is the limits? Now Brain makes a few. Inefficient, sloppy, lots of witnesses, so it's probably trying to be low-key versus blatant. So, probably so the other Roidmudes wouldn't become accidentally exposed or targeted, which makes sense if they're trying to reach these perfections en masse, so they can do whatever it is they're planning to do. We have no idea at this point. So there's... And I don't get why they'd want to be down low-key. I mean, it's not like the Great Freeze already hit, so they're not exactly secrets. They're not exactly... Most people don't know about them. No, there is a whole hotline and awareness thing. And actually, that might be why they're trying to be low-key, because everybody's onto them now. Conflicting viewpoints about that. The issue with Paint is he has the Disciple, which is the main target for Shinosuke and Kiriko's investigation. Now, I believe I already said it, but Kiriko's been traumatized by Paint because that was what happened to her in the slowdown, saved by Proto Drive, and so she's freezing up whenever anything relating to that is around. And it's not unreasonable. You have a near-death experience, and something's going to trigger the flashbacks. It actually starts out with the return of the Funky Vega shift car. Apparently the reason the show is using why the shift cars are not all around at once is they're all off on their own missions to track down various Roimutes with specific MOs that are in hiding. That is not a bad reason to limit them if you're not going to do the monstrous bodies holding corrupt ones. Of course, now it makes us wonder how many of those there are. But I guess we're gonna have to wait to see. We got 3 new tire changes, and one's... I kind of like Funky Vegas, because... if that's... I'm pretty sure that's its name. It's something Vegas. No, that was Funky Spike. What is Vegas? I'm terrible with names. Vegas creates shields, and it's Full Throttle, which is Drive's finishing moves, is based off of slots, meaning it's a gamble. And the gamble this time was it generated a single coin. I swear I've seen this joke somewhere before. Seriously, I can't place where the gamble thing was. The other 2 were Massive Monster and... blanking on what the third one was. Oh, right, the cement mixer. And not bad use, it's just that its Full Throttle was to pin it in place instead of, I don't know, steamroll it. I thought that would just be the normal wheel power was to shoot blasts of quick-drying cement instead of... That's the finishing move? Yeah. Massive Monster was at least interesting with the grabbing thing being the wheel gimmick and the claws that come with the wheel being the finisher. That was kind of interesting. And of course we had Chase. Chase is interesting in that he's the one with the motorcycle this season. Now people have been suppositing since we've gotten recent spoilers about the secondary rider, Kamen Rider Mach, also using motorcycle, and his gear being combinable with the Machine Chaser, that is Chaser's motorcycle. That we're wondering if he's going to be the secondary rider, or if Chaser and whoever Kamen Rider Mach is going to be have some form of history, which is certainly possible, and they might actually team up to, along with Drive at some point, to become a power trio against Roimutes that are breaking the rules of both the Roimutes and attacking people willy-nilly, because Chase is apparently now after Paint, because Paint is apparently breaking whatever rules the Roimutes have for whatever this evolution is. So it's not going to be the standard character dynamic, I think, but it still seems kind of interesting. Possibly an enemy of my enemy is my friend, but he just showed up to fight Drive at the end of the episode, so I'm curious on what that's going to be like. And I think we're down 6 Roymutes, 8 Roymutes, not more than 10. And there are going to be 108. We know another 3. No, wait. 2 killed, 1 revived from the first one, that's 5. This is 6, and we know a total of 10 that are existing. Yeah, I thought this was a good episode of Drive, as its character explanation, character depth, decent mystery with the paint Roymute and how it absorbs it. Except it's still missing something that's making it click for me, and I'm not sure what that is yet. I think that's it for me this week. I'll see you all next week for Toqger 34. I'm not looking forward to that one. And Drive 4, which has more of Machine Chaser, which I'm curious in seeing. See ya.